What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Down Once More. I'm your host, Matt, and this week we are doing another sunrise episode outside. What that's going to be is I have a few notes on the Tony Award noms because those dropped, and I want to talk about that a little bit. But then it will be just casual story time, see where the episode takes us. So let's get in. This is a musical podcast after all. Let's get into the Tony Award nominations. Noms were revealed, and leading the pack in the musical world is The Lost Boys and Schmigadoon, which each have 12 nominations total. Schmigadoon, I really enjoyed the Apple TV series. Very unfortunate it got canceled after 2 seasons. Supposedly, the success of this on Broadway are kind of sparking conversations that it might return with a season 3, because season 3 was already written. They had new songs and everything, so they could pick it up. I mean, got to get the finances in order and make sure cast is available. And Aaron Fiat currently on Chess. Is he still in Chess, or did he get replaced? I don't know. But you got some of the key cast members. People have other roles, responsibilities that they're dealing with. Just got distracted by the bird flying in and attaching. Oh, there's a bird back there too. Hello, bird. This is my literal squirrel. Well, not literal squirrel, because bird, not a squirrel, but you get the picture. Um, but besides those two, Ragtime was next up with 11 nominations, which I've talked about on here at length. Joshua Henry's performance as Coalhouse in Ragtime, his voice is amazing. Very impressed with it. And it did land him Best Leading Actor in a Musical nom, which we'll get to in a bit. And then Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York also had 8 nominations. I just recently got into the Two Strangers cast album. A coworker of mine, we were talking about musicals, and she recommended it to me. I had heard of it before, had not listened to it before. So started listening to the cast album and instantly got obsessed. Sam Tuddy and Christiani Pitts are amazing in it, and like just from the opening number, New York is one that just really grabbed me. And I think one of my favorite opening numbers in a musical that I have heard in quite a while. It's a really fun score. The lyrics are fun. The story is essentially Sam Tuddy plays a guy who is invited to his estranged father's wedding in New York. Now, he's a foreigner and he's just so excited about New York. Everything he knows about New York, he's learned from movies, and he references Home Alone 2 a lot in it. And so he comes to his estranged father's wedding, hoping to reconnect with him. He's picked up at the airport by his father's bride's sister, portrayed by Christiani Pitts, who then takes him through the city. They go on the mission to get the wedding cake, get it to the wedding, learn more about each other, the city, a lot of emotional beats, a lot of fun beats. There's a song on the apps when they're kind of going through her like Tinder, something like that, and it's very cleverly written and catchy, and one of my favorite songs on the album. So if you haven't listened to Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York, I highly recommend you do. The cast album is fun. There is also a recording, because it did originate in London back in 2024, I believe it was. And so it started out there and then transferred over to Broadway. But let's get into the key musical categories. Best musical is The Lost Boys, which is the musical adaptation of the classic movie. Schmigadoon, Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York, and Titanic, which is the Celine Dion musical. And that one I don't know much about. I've heard great things. I've heard it's a lot of fun, but I haven't listened to any of the songs from it. I mean, besides, yes, I know some Celine Dion songs. I haven't dived into the story and what it's like at all. And The Lost Boys is a relatively new one. I think it just opened a month or so ago. And it's one that I've heard some great things. Shoshana Bean is the only featured like actor or actress in this case that is nominated for it. No one got leading actor or actress noms. But from all the technical categories, the book categories, it got right up there with Schmigadoon. And so, in that same vein, the same musicals that were nominated for Best Musical were nominated for Best Book of a Musical, which isn't too surprising. There's something that put it in the Best Musical category, right? Besides just the characters, the songs, the actors. So, having a good book is key in this case. For Best Revival of Musical, only three nominees: Ragtime, Cats the Jellicle Ball, and Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is another one that started fairly recently with Luke Evans as Dr. Frankenfurter, Stephanie Sue as Janet. And I I enjoy Rocky Horror for what it is. I didn't grow up on it like a lot of people. And Amy and I talked about it a little bit, and I think the first episode that she was on. I've been seeing that there are great performances on this. They were on one of the night shows, and Luke Evans is fully committing to this role and doing an amazing job there, which got him an actor nom, which we'll talk about here shortly. But I've been seeing posts about just Rocky Horror. One of the main things that there is about it are the callbacks, where the audience kind of yells back at the stage. And that has been a thing since it got its like cult classic status for showings that were in theaters. But now it's translating to the live performances, and it is distracting for people who don't know. The musical is failing to like commit to an answer of, hey, don't do call outs as a live performance with live actors, or hey, it's part of the show, we want you to do it. They're not really giving an answer one way or another, which can be confusing for audiences. Because for some audiences who love this musical, the call outs or the callbacks are a big portion of it. Amy even referenced them when we talked about it. And so I think that could be where it's struggling from like and it's not really struggling, obviously. It got numerous noms, but from an audience perspective, for me, I think that would be distracting, where I'm like, I would be curious and interested to see this show because of the cast, because the music is catchy and fun. But I am someone who, when I'm there to see live performances, I want to be able to fully enjoy those performers. So I am a little bit of a stick in the mud with that. I don't want people yelling out or making comments constantly throughout the show. I want to be able to focus and enjoy the show and the production that I'm watching. So I don't know how I would feel about that. I feel like it could be, especially like tourists who are just looking for a show and want to catch a Broadway show, who may not know what they're getting into. That would be a distracting thing that could affect how much you're enjoying the show, right? And then Cat's the Jellicle Ball, I don't know a ton about. Ragtime, I have been thoroughly enjoying. And so let's get to Best Performance by a Leading Actor. Nicholas Christopher was nominated for his role in Chess, which, man, some of the clips I've seen out of that and just his voice on the cast recording, absolutely amazing. Only for like a lead character in Chess, only nomination. Leah Michelle did not nab one. Aaron Fiat did not nab one. If you're gonna name someone, got a nomination for Best Featured Actress in a Musical for it, but Nicholas Christopher, the only like lead performer in it, and so good for him. Luke Evans did get a nom for his performance as Dr. Frankenfurter in Rocky Horror. Joshua Henry got a nom for his role as Cole House in Ragtime. Sam Tutty got a nom for Two Strangers Carry Cake Across New York. And then Brandon Uranowitz from Ragtime also got a nom. So two Ragtime actors in here. From things that I've been seeing, Joshua Henry is probably the favorite in this category right now, and I think that is well deserved. Uh, Best performance by a leading actress, Sarah Chase from Schmigadoon, which I will say, like Alex Brightman, I have heard great things about his performance in this. I think the leading actor category was just so like got a lot of heavy hitters and great performances this year that um, he missed out as well because he was nominated for his role in Beetlejuice, if I'm not mistaken, and has just been a great like Broadway performer. He played Dewey Finn in School of Rock when it was nominated. I almost said School of. I don't know what I almost said. I almost said like School of House or something weird. Full disclosure, I've been up for 30 minutes this morning and I have not had coffee yet, which is a problem for me. But back to Tony Noms. So, best performance by a leading actress. Just start at the beginning. Sarah Chase for Schmigadoon, Stephanie Sue for Rocky Horror Picture Show, Casey Levy for Ragtime, which is great to see. I thought she was fantastic as Diana in Next to Normal. And there are a lot of rumors about Next to Normal transferring to Broadway. Evita was just announced that it's transferring to Broadway from its West End run, the Rachel Zegler starring musical from Jamie Bell, the revival of that. So Next to Normal transferring to Broadway with Casey Levy and Jack Wolf, now that he's done in Hadestown, would be amazing. There have been very unsubstantiated rumors that potentially Aaron Fiat would play Dan in it, and he originated the role of Gabe. So that would be amazing. But at this point, that's just rumors and wishful thinking. Other two nominees in the category, Marla Mendel in Titanic, and then Christiane Pitts for Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York. So those are the lead and the main category for musicals that I wanted to touch on. I'm very kind of excited about the nominations because most of them are ones that I have been following or have heard about so far. So, like I said, Lost Boys and Titanic, still a little bit of a blind spot, but Schmigadoon, I'm familiar because of the TV show. And from all accounts that I've seen, at least from during previews, it is a pretty close adaptation to the first season of the show. So, I am excited about that. I did really enjoy the show. I think it's got a really good cast behind it. And so I'll be excited to see how it does. All right. Tony Tongue. Oh, if I had to do my picks for not seeing any of these shows in person and not being familiar with any others, for best musical, I think I would probably want it to go to Two Strangers just because I think that is a lot of fun and amazing. And for being essentially a two-person show, which I actually really enjoy two people shows. Like The Last 5 Years is another one. It's a pretty stripped back show and I thoroughly enjoy it. I think Two Strangers is my favorite cast album to listen to out of these. Best revival, I would give to Ragtime just because I'm loving the Ragtime cast album. I've heard really good things about Cats the Jellicle Ball, but like Cats isn't very much my speed. And this, it seems like it's more. I've heard it's an amazing experience. Like they have people on the stage during it, like audience members, and it seems like a fun live experience. So I guess it depends on how you're going to look at that. Is it best overall or best experience for a musical? I don't know how Tony noms work. I'm a noob when it comes to that, novice. So don't come to me for expertise with that. Best performance for a leading actor. I Sam Tuddy in Two Strangers is great, but man, Joshua Henry is so powerful in this role, and I love his voice so much. I'm rooting for Joshua Henry in this category. And then leading actress, this one I think I would hope for Christiane Pitts. Casey Levy's amazing, but Christiane Pitts is so good in Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York. And so I think I'm kind of rooting for her. But honestly, any of these, like Stephanie Sue, I love from Be More Chill and some of her roles in movies, like in, I almost said Parasite, but it was Everything Everywhere All at Once, not Parasite, completely different movies. And I think that she is insanely talented. I haven't seen much about her role as Janet. Um, Janet? Yeah. I was then going back and forth if it was Janice or Janet. This is what happens when you don't have thorough notes. But uh, Casey Levy, Stephanie Sue, and Marlon Mandel being like the lead role in Titanic, the main one holding that together. I think I could see arguments there for her. And Sarah Chase and Schmigadoon, the role she's playing, that is the focal point and the driving factor of the musical. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Excited to see the results. I should have figured out when the Tony Awards actually are because I have no idea. It's coming up at some point. It'd be funny if it like already happened or if it's this weekend and I could have just included it on here. Anyways, let's get to some random story time. The other week, I was outside mowing and I think I witnessed a miracle, magic trick, a wizard, or most likely just something really fucking weird. The birds are very loud this morning. I saw this older gentleman, I would say probably 60s, riding a bicycle, and across the handlebars, he was like riding with two large sticks with flowers on them, probably about 4 or 5 foot each. And so they were like tree branches that he had cut down that still had the flowering petals. So he drove by with that. And then about 5 minutes later, he came back on his bicycle, branches gone, but instead, a set of aluminum crutches. So I I was so confused. This man, I would assume, did not need crutches as he was pedaling his bicycle just fine. I don't know. Was it a barter system? He's like, hey, I will bring you branches. You give me crutches. Did he just have to go and hide in the alley and magically transform these branches to crutches? I don't know what was going on with there, but it was very odd. Okay, so we've had musical talk with the Tonys. We have had magic talk with magic crutches. Now it's time for some business professional talk, just what everyone comes to the podcast for, right? We've been doing interviews to hire for a new position at work. This one is a little more entry level. And so I've been one of 3 members on the interview panel. And so it's got me thinking more about the interview and hiring process, and something that I think is so hard to truly identify in an interview, but in almost any job role is going to be one of the most important things that you can bring into it. And that is critical thinking. For the position that we're hiring for, having some experience and technical expertise in the field is definitely preferred. However, how we do it at our organization is so different than how others do it. So you're going to have to be relearning things anyway. You just might know some of the jargon already is one of the benefits you could bring from another field. Sometimes when you have such a unique process for doing things, I feel like having previous experience, the only thing that shows is they may be able to pick it up quicker, but sometimes it can almost be a detriment because you need people to kind of unlearn what they've already learned from previous roles and previous experience doing this job. And I find that I'm not the hiring manager on this position, so I don't have to be the one to make the decision. But so many, so many, so much of what I look for and I think is important in an interview are the kind of intangibles. How what are your transferable skills? What are your soft skills that you're bringing from your previous positions? How are you able to communicate how what you did there, even if it doesn't completely align with this, can fit into the job description, and why you think you would be a good fit for the role? Why you think we should hire you? Are you going to be able to connect those dots and critically think, okay, did you actually read the job description, and have you done your research to know what you're getting into? That kind of effort and ability to present yourself and sell yourself in a sense, and critically think, okay, this is what I did here that didn't align perfectly with this, but the skills that I had to do to accomplish this task, I believe will set me up for success in this one in the future. That's always been my approach to interviews. And I try to make sure when I'm applying for jobs, which I haven't done in a while, but that I spend the time to put together a cover letter if I feel like there are things in my resume that could appear as deficiencies that I have in the desired category or area. So if I don't have any specific technical expertise for what this position has, I'm going to write you a cover letter to say why my experience doing XYZ is going to make me a great fit and help me be successful in this new position now. And for entry level positions, I mean, it's not fully entry level, it's probably a little bit more mid level, but the technical expertise required is entry level. A, a lot of people don't take that time to do that work, and I can understand that, but that to me, and we have HR does initial screening for minimum qualifications and everything like that. So I'm not the first one seeing resumes or anything, but that to me shows some effort. It shows that you are actually interested, and it shows that, hey, my resume may not exactly translate to what you're looking for here, but I know that I have the skills and I will be successful in this job, and I will do an amazing job, and I think I will excel in it. So I think I would be a great hire. That's something that I always appreciate, and I think a lot of people don't take the time to do it. And right now, at least for like our positions that we hire for, you're getting 20 to 30, 40 applicants for. And some of those really more competitive jobs, you're going to be getting a ton more, and more entry level, you're going to be getting a lot more. So what can separate you from the other pack of resumes that we're seeing? If you are self-aware that your resume maybe has some gaps and doesn't translate exactly to this job role, and if you are self-aware enough to do that, and you are able to put the effort together in communicating that, that is going to make you stand out from the pack and just be a little bit of a differentiator there, in my opinion. Because in almost every job role that you have, critical thinking is going to be one of the most important things that you can't really teach. You can teach skills and tasks. You can't teach work ethic. You can't teach, you can try to teach communication some, but there's going to be a level. If they just don't have it, they just don't have it. And it's very, very, very difficult, if not impossible, to teach critical thinking, because you have to have someone that's willing to learn, willing to ask questions, and cares about why things work certain ways, and doesn't just want to be told do XYZ, wants to kind of be able to figure it out and make sure they have an understanding of why things work a certain way, so that when they get different unique situations, they can use that logic to apply it and say, okay, we did XYZ before. The things we were looking for is this, this, this. And so this is a little bit different situation. I'm trying not to give specifics and details because I don't like doxing jobs and stuff like that, because it's a different world. Podcast world, job world, different. But this is my professional advice to you. If you're looking for a job, if you find yourself struggling, take some time, make sure you learn the job description, put together a cover letter on how your experience in the other roles will make you a great fit and help you excel in this role. It's worked out for me so far. The last 2 jobs that I did that for, I got an interview and got hired. So that's my tip there. Are there any other random things that I want to touch on today? I don't think so. Just that next week is when I plan to have Brad on and do our Rockadoodle review. So tune in to that. I'll give another plug for watching the Suffs Pro Shot. Had a great time seeing it and then reviewing it with Sage last week. It's available on PBS Great Performances through July 31st. I'll also mention, because I mentioned in the podcast, the Next to Normal West End Pro Shot. It's been on Broadway HD. It is now available to rent or buy on digital platforms. So Fandango at Home, Prime Video, Apple, all those places, wherever you get your digital movies, Next to Normal is available now in the US. So if you don't have Broadway HD, or if you just want to have it for longer and watch it whenever you want, it's $10 on Fandango at Home right now. So a nice steal there for a fantastic show. One thing in the Suffs Pro Shot, there were a couple times where I noticed, because there was a lot of talk about the Next to Normal Pro Shot, about Casey Levy's like the double mic and how low it was hanging on her head, where it almost looked like 2 big moles on her forehead. In the Suffs Pro Shot, the mics are either very well hidden, or there's one scene in Dudley Malone's song where it almost looked like, I felt like I could see where they like photoshopped, like airbrushed it out. And I could be wrong, but I just thought that was interesting, the differences. Also, shout out, had someone comment on the Bat Out of Hell review that I did, where I'm like, this movie is a fever dream. I watched the whole thing and barely know what the fuck was going on with it. And they commented and said, hey, there were actually a lot of changes. The script, the book was a lot bigger. The story had some extra numbers and plot points that made sense with Zahara and everything like that. And it got changed. And the holding the stick mics was added in the 2025 when they started doing that in that production. I'm like, okay, that makes me feel better about it. Said people did have a lot to say. So shout out that YouTube commenter giving that additional disclaimer. That makes me feel better that while it was still probably a little bit of a fever dream, it was maybe not as much of a nonsensical fever dream. So I thought that was good. So the sun is peeking up between these trees right now. Sunrise, fairly committed. It's fully over the horizon, and it is now in the sky. It was not as colorful of a sunrise as I was hoping for, but hey, still your morning episode. It's time for me to make my morning coffee. Also in that, head over to TikTok, Instagram, Reels, YouTube Shorts to check out Matt's Coffee Corner. New series dropping on Sundays, 1 to 3 minutes long. Me just talking about a few random things while I have my morning coffee. Video of me making my coffee. I think I am going to do, well, I haven't recorded it yet, obviously. And this will air Wednesday, so it'll already be out. But so you'll be able to see if I stuck to my plan or not. My plan is to do espresso this time with my Alton Mino electric little portable espresso maker. So tune into that. Trying to do something a little bit unique, make it different, make it pop every week. So having some fun with that. Head over, subscribe, like, share, comment. YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. We are going to start having the video option available on Apple Podcasts as well, where they implemented it. And with the platform I use to distribute it, it's fairly easy to get that going. And I might dig into getting the video on Spotify as well sooner or later. So tune into that. Maybe more ways to watch the podcast than just YouTube. So then you can switch back and forth. If you're like, wait, I want to see what he's doing here, or I want to see the pretty sunrise, but I don't want to go to YouTube. There you go. However, I would appreciate if you go to YouTube. That's where I see the most interaction, and I can see the most stats. That is helpful to me. So thank you all. Love y'all. Don't forget to go down once more. Later. Okay, so we had musical talk, we had magic talk. Now we're going to do some business advice talk for your full broad Doing this before coffee was a mistake. Okay. There was a bird that was just sounding like a baby, like, yeah. I don't know if that's really a baby sound, but I'm not around babies often. Anyway,